If I had to learn production all over again, now remember, I have over 13 plus years of full-time producer experience, and I've helped hundreds of producers become professionals through our mentorship program, and I've toured for many years and I've accomplished a lot. But the reason why I'm making this video is like, if I had to learn everything again in production, say tomorrow I lost absolutely everything and had to start over, what would be my approach? Now, what I'm about to tell you not only applies to music production as well too. There's lines of reasoning here that apply to everything you do in your life that you're very, very serious about. Now, this is not for the dabbler or someone that just wants to learn tips and tricks and see where life goes. There's more people that really want to become professional producers, whether to monetize or just they want to be able to produce at a very, very high quality level. Now, first things first, I would focus on my vision. What does that mean? I would spend some time trying to understand, what do I actually want out of this? Do I want to get signed? Do I want people to hear my music and I want to share my story? Do I want to grow my fan base and eventually make money out of this through shows or through different types of services that I want to provide to be able to make a living, whatever the case might be, right? Do I want to be an artist? Do I want to be a studio professional? What does that really look like, that vision? Spend some time developing that vision. You'd be surprised that 9 out of 10 producers that I speak to, their vision is like, hey, Vardy, I just want to get signed to a label. And that's it. And I tell them like, okay, why is that important to you? Well, I just want to get my music out there. Okay, and why is that important to you? Why is it important for you to, if you love what you really do, why not just have fun producing music? Why is it important for you to have your music in front of a lot of people and you share your story? See, now we're getting deeper and deeper on the vision, trying to understand where we're coming from. This is the first thing I would do. And this evolves through time because we evolve and we change and we improve and we have different ways of looking at the same scenario and wanting different things out of it. So first things first, create a vision that's deep, and it goes deep in terms of the why is that vision important to me? Because the funny part is, it's more of a sad thing than funny, really. Producers often on social media see other people accomplish stuff. You're like, oh, I would want to do that, and they do it. But so you're living someone else's dream, though. If you haven't really thought about what's important to you, and it's normal for human nature to be influenced by what we see. A lot of times, if you actually access the parts of your mind where it's like, why have I done this in the past? You realize you maybe saw someone in your surrounding do it. You thought, oh, that's cool, I'll do it too. And then you start kind of buying into their philosophies and thinking patterns, and that becomes your beliefs as well too. And you start operating life from that sense too. There's nothing wrong with this. What's important is to be aware. And this exercise of creating vision and going to the depth of why is this important to me? What do I want this to feel like is such an important exercise right off the bat, because you start seeing whether you're serious about this, whether you're dabbling, how important it is in your life. And based on that, you can then put in the time and the focus and the investments to be able to get there. Then I would pick one DAW, not 15, and it could be any DAW, whether it's Ableton, Logic, FL, doesn't matter. Pick, and it doesn't matter at all. You can write professional music regardless of the DAW. Pick one DAW, learn the DAW inside out. If I'm opening up Ableton for the first time, I'm like, okay, what is this? Let me maybe buy a course simply on how does Ableton work, right? How to set up an audio channel, MIDI channel, what's the difference, and all the different buttons that appear next to it. Learn the tool more and more, and take several months to really get into it and put it into practice. You could get an educator for this. We don't do education at that level. We deal with producers that come in, they're already writing music, they know how to use their DAW, and we're helping them become professionals, right? But there's a lot of educators out there that teach Ableton, or they teach FL or Logic, very bare bones of how it works. You could do that. You could read the manual. You could buy a walkthrough course of 10 hours, and you could watch it and see how everything works and put it into practice. But I would pick one DAW and learn the ins and outs of the DAW itself before trying to be a professional producer or before writing music that sounds highly professional. Then think about, okay, well, what's going to be my schedule and my consistency level? Because if you're not consistent with something, nothing will happen. I'm doing jiu-jitsu now, and I train 4 times a week. Why? Because I really love it. I love it, and I really want to get good at it, and it gives me a massive confidence when I see myself improving, when I'm actually rolling, which we call sparring with people, and I see my skills getting better. But what's actually helping is like I have a schedule and I'm consistent and I show up. Same with music. I'd say if you're serious about production, you have to spend at least 8 hours a week, 8 to 10 hours a week consistently. And those 8 hours a week, they have to be consistent. Yes, you have a one-off week, that's fine, or you're sick. But overall, if you look back in the last 3, 4, 5 months, you on average showed up 8 to 10 hours a week. That is consistency. And in consistency compounds, and consistency allows you to see things you haven't seen before, to experience the same issue in different environments and variables. This is where mastery starts developing. So I would set a schedule and promise to myself that I'm gonna be consistent, right? And then I would give myself the goal to write maybe 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 tracks. And these tracks don't need to be finished. Just start a new project, start putting beats together, kicks, bass lines, drums, pads, plucks, see where the story goes. Trying my best to just put what I learned about the DAW and what I know about production into practice at the early stages. And then the most important thing is I would get a mentor as early as possible. Every time in my life, in all aspects of my life, where I've gotten a mentor, it has dramatically changed my life. 100%, there's not even a discussion about it. I don't even understand why people even have discussed about this online. There's all the information you need online on YouTube. Actually, not really. YouTube doesn't talk back to you and tell you exactly what your issues are with great expertise and detail, and it's a one-way interaction. Plus, the best in the world in whatever there is in this world to do, like whether you're a martial artist or whether you're an athlete, whether you're an Olympian, everyone has had mentors, and the best in the world still have the most coaches. So if they're getting help and you as an amateur, you're not getting help, thinking that I could do all this by myself, well, or you're not serious about production, or it's a bit arrogant to think that all the best in the world need the most coaches, but me on my end, I could accomplish everything by myself. It's there's ego there involved. There's nothing genuine about it. If education is there to speed up the process, why not take it? And we could talk a lot about this, but that's what I would do. I would find a mentor, someone, not an active touring DJ, because they're not educators, someone that specializes in education, right? Like when I'm learning, for example, I love to play the classical guitar. When I'm learning classical guitar, I want an educator to teach me how to use the guitar versus someone that's touring the world and flamboyantly playing amazing guitar. They might not know how to teach properly, and they might be teaching me what they know, which might be helpful to a certain extent, but I'll end up sounding like them. And there's this problem in our world a lot in electronic music where you look up to a touring artist and you say, you know what, like, well, it's like, well, if he's touring, he's doing something right, I can learn from him. Yeah, there are stuff that you can learn from him, but they're not specialized educators. Especially when you're starting to close the gap of trying to find your sound and getting to like mastery, you need educators that specialize in identifying what's going wrong and how to help you, because educators spend all their time educating. Like, for example, I've been a touring artist for about 5-6 years full time. Then I ran a mixing and mastering studio because I realized touring wasn't for me after all these years of traveling the world. I wanted to stay in the studio and find other ways to monetize my skill set, and mixing and mastering was a thing, and I loved engineering back then. So I was actually doing what I love and making a living off of it. But through time, I realized people actually need help, not for mixing and mastering. People need help in how to produce music. And I started to develop this mentorship program that I have, and I'm highly passionate about it. I do this day in, day out. I obsess about better ways of teaching every single day. While a touring artist who from just hype clout standpoint might seem more successful, they are doing what they're doing with their music. They don't have the capacity because they haven't helped as much people, right? So when I'm looking for a guitar teacher, for example, because I love classical guitar, I don't look for that touring guitarist who actually writes great music. I'm looking for someone who does write music, number one, but someone who also has a lot of experience teaching, right? With teaching comes experience. With teaching comes with teaching, you as a teacher, you learn how to adapt to someone else's personality, to see what they're trying to express and help them express that, versus making you sound like me, for example. So to review, if I was to start everything from scratch, I would have a proper vision. I would spend some time on understanding what the vision is, go to the deeper whys of why this vision is important to me. Number 2, I'd pick a DAW and I learn inside out, whether I get an early educator to help me with the DAW or go through the manual or buy a walkthrough course to learn the DAW. Just one DAW is enough. Then I'd set up a proper schedule and make sure I'm consistent, spend at least 8 to 10 hours a week. And over months and years, this compounds. Crazy. I'll give myself a goal of like trying to put 5-6 songs together to the best of my capacity to see where I am and learn through that process. And then as early as possible, I would get a mentor to learn things the right way and not to waste time trying to figure out problems that already exist, right? And in terms of picking a mentor, I would pick someone that's not an active touring DJ, someone that actually specializes and has been specializing in education for a very long time. Hope this is helpful, guys. If you're looking for some help, and only if you're very serious about production and you becoming a professional means a lot to you in your life, let's have a conversation. There's a link below. We'll see if there's a fit. I'll be the first one to say if there's no fit, because I want to work with the right people and I want to work with serious producers. Either way, it's a free call, allow you to get clarity on where you are in production and what's best for you, what's the next best step, and then we can take it from there. Hope this was helpful. Love you all. See ya.